Okay. Everyone, I am with Tara O'Grady. Thank you for joining me, Tara.
Thank you for having me. It's good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too. Thank you. So tell us, give us a little bit on your background, because before you went into music, you were an English teacher.
Oh, yes. That was my very first job out of college. I taught high school literature and film studies and drama. But then I moved to Spain a few years later and took up flamenco dancing. Yeah, so because I realized I've been in the classroom my entire life. Like, I need to get out. Um, and But I ended up getting back into when I came back to the States. I was working in a lot of universities, and eventually I landed at Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts, where I taught art education and imagination and creativity. But when I left Lincoln Center in 2011, that's when I became a full-time singer-songwriter, jazz band leader. And so for the past decade, I've been making music.
So when you were growing up, did you do a lot of singing or performing?
I could always carry a tune, as the Irish say, and my family, at events and parties and gatherings, whether it was in the house or at a wedding or whatever, everyone was always expected to tell a story or a joke or do a dance or, pick up the fiddle or sing a song. So because I had a voice, I would sing a song, but I really didn't feel the Irish songs in my soul. I didn't thoroughly enjoy singing them. I actually, when I was a young teenager, I preferred singing songs that Elvis and Patsy Cline did. But I discovered jazz, I guess, later in high school and college, because my brother was in the jazz band for school, and he played jazz instruments. And so I started hearing the big band music, and I was like, oh, I love that stuff. The movies and the musicals and the swing dancing, it all attracted me. And the clothing, the vintage clothing of that period also attracted me. So eventually I found my way to swing dances and jazz clubs. And once I started hearing the female singers, I thought, hey, I think I want to sing that music. So that's kind of the direction I went. But coming from an Irish family, I always, I still threw in some Irish songs, but I would swing them in a tempo that sounded more like Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald,
Mm-hmm. And that's, if I'm correct, what you did with your first album.
Yes, Black Irish was a collection of Irish songs like Danny Boy and Molly Malone, where I performed them with a jazz band, full horn section, and we'd perform in a lot of swing dances. But then I started writing original music, and my last 4 albums were all original songs.
Okay, so are you coming out with anything new or
I have
upcoming?
so many new things that I just haven't recorded and published. I wrote a new book. I have at least 2, if not 3 full albums of stuff ready to go. But, because I wasn't working through the entire pandemic, I wasn't about to spend thousands in a recording studio. So I've over the past few years, I've been putting out one song at a time. I published a Christmas song. I started writing songs for sale, where people commission songs to gift to their spouse or family member or loved one. And so far I've done one that was a Christmas gift, one was a January birthday, and I have a Valentine's one coming out tomorrow. So those were all, it's kind of nice. I like writing songs based on true stories, and people inspire me. So it's kind of nice that it's one way to earn money while you sit at home and can't go out. But it's also great to build your repertoire, your catalog with great stories, and they're about real people, and you're spreading love. So I've been enjoying that.
Okay. So you say, and that's right, you're an author now as well. You wrote a book
Yep.
about your grandmother taking Yep, there it is. There it is.
Migrating Toward Happiness, the soundtrack to my spiritual awakening. Yeah.
Buy it, people, buy it. Um,
It's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all over the map.
so you went all over the place, you know, following where your grandmother went.
Yeah, I was replicating my Irish grandmother's 1957 road trip from New York to Seattle in a Chevy Bel Air. And I was chasing her spirit along the way, and there's a full soundtrack that goes along with it. So I performed the songs from the chapter titles, which are everything from Billie Holiday to Elvis Presley to, you know, Willie Nelson to The Clash. You know, I mean, I've got everything in there. And yeah, someone in Germany even made a Spotify list of the entire chapter titles just because they wanted to hear the book in the order of the songs that I have. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, wow. So how long were you on the road then?
Well, my grandmother's trip, she slept in the car, and you know, she stopped all along she went to Ohio, was her first stop, and then the Dakotas, and you know, Montana, all the way up to Washington State. But she took a leisurely 7 weeks to come back. Chevrolet sponsored my tour, and they wouldn't let me, you know, take the vehicles. I basically asked them for a free ride, and they offered me a convertible Camaro, a Silverado, and an SUV. And I asked if I could take them and drop them off in different locations, and they agreed, but they gave me a limited time. They wanted me to do it in 2 weeks, and I was like, I can't drive 6,000 miles in 2 weeks. You got to give me, you know, I have to stop and smell the roses somewhere. So they gave me a limit of 3 weeks. So I was, you know, some days I was driving 10 hours a day just to get to a location where my grandmother had been.
Oh, wow.
Like that first day from New York City to Ohio, that was an 11-hour straight ride. I didn't stop just for gas and food. That was it.
Oh, wow.
That was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine that, but that does take quite a few hours. I mean, I guess you don't really think about it, especially when you're looking at a map and everything looks so close, and then you.
Yeah. I don't think people outside of America, or even people within America who don't really do road trips, I don't think they realize how long it takes to cross one single state. You know, it's such a vast terrain, and then there's traffic. You know, it's like there's some places, especially when you approach the cities, but it's so nice when you get out there in the open space. It was really amazing, especially in Montana, because I was basically following my grandmother's exact route, and every time I was somewhere where she had definitely been, a 57 Chevy Bel Air would pull up beside me, a different one every day. And I realized this has to be her spirit, like saying hello. It's like a breadcrumb saying you're on the right track. And when I was in Montana, I was heading back east, and I went off her track, and I started crossing the state a different way that she had gone. And I said to my co-pilot, my best friend Lauren at the time, I said, you know, we haven't seen a 57 Chevy Bel Air in a few days. And do you think her spirit is no longer with us because we're not on her route? And I was going 90 miles an hour on this road. Like there was no one around, and we're just left the mountains. We just left Glacier National Park area, and we're crossing it, this flat region. And in the distance, I see a tree way in the distance. And as we get closer, my friend says, there she is. And parked under the tree is a rotted out 57 Chevy Bel Air. And we realized, okay, all we have to do is like ask for a sign, and there it is. So that's the whole spiritual side of the book, where, you know, when you want to connect with your loved ones, they either come to you as a symbol of a classic car, or a song like Stand By Me or Van Morrison's Into the Mystic. So that's why the music plays a big role in the book, in the story.
So was there any place that you traveled that you really felt her? or was it
Well,
just everywhere?
definitely that Montana, that when I saw that rusting car, and there was she was she the one of the hotels she stayed in Butte, Montana, her friend from Ireland was the owner of, Bessie Towie. It's called the Towie Hotel, and it's still standing in Butte. And so she stayed there, and so it's no longer a hotel; it's a private residence. But I got to meet the current owners, and they let me in. And so everything inside of their home is unchanged from when my grandmother was there. And there were even pictures of her friend on the walls. So like when I touched the doorknobs and the wallpaper, and the kitchen is the same from the 50s, I really felt her presence. Like I could, that was pretty cool because, when things are modernized, like New York City, we knock down all the old buildings and you put up something shiny and new, and you don't get a sense of the past. I love these old buildings. When you go into them, you can still sense the energy, and you can see what the ancestors saw, like the same furniture and floorboards, and that's pretty cool.
Mm. Yeah, that must have been something to see. So you really, I guess, gathered a lot of inspiration from being there when you were done. Is that what made
Well,
you write the
when
book?
I finished the road trip, that's when I decided to write the story. Um, it's sort of, I kind of compare it to the hero's journey, similar to Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, when she goes out looking for something but realizes she's always had it. She had the love of her family, and home is wherever, your heart is. So, yeah, I started going on my book tours and performing the songs from the book, and then the pandemic hit, and so it just put a hold on everything. But I did write a new memoir in the summer of 2020 after I recovered from COVID, and I have yet to publish it, but I'm going to start the editing process now, and just, I don't want to wait anymore. I'm tired of waiting for getting out the new songs in the new book, because we've been waiting a long time. So it's time to come out of our hibernation. It's time to live again and share. And I've been starting to design creative workshops, and I'm actually going to be teaching songwriting and memoir writing in Key West next week.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, so and then I'll also be, I'm taking people on tour to Ireland in September.
Okay.
So if you want to come September 10th to the 19th, we're only staying in castles, and that have spas, and it's going to be lots of encounters with nature, lots of creativity, and it's all on my website, taraobradymusic.com.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that from the tour. So do you still have a few openings left?
Oh yeah, we definitely, the deposits are pretty much due like March 1st. So if any, because it's amazing. People are desperate to travel now, and they want to get out. So some places are completely booked. Ireland's getting booked up. The hotels all across for this year. They're already, so people have to jump on it if they want to come.
Oh, okay. So are you getting people from all over the place?
Yeah, I always get people who come from different parts of the country, or, um, even before the pandemic, when I was teaching writing in Ireland and Paris, there were people flying from Australia and, different parts of Europe just to come. So yeah, it's a nice, diverse group.
You said next week, or I think, you'll be teaching memoir writing and everything in the Keys,
In Key West, yeah.
US. Okay. Are you going to be going elsewhere to teach, or is it just there?
For the end of February, I'm just teaching in Key West, but I will be, creating some other workshops, but some people have been asking me, I've been getting requests to do online private workshops because, depending on where they live or if they don't want to travel. So I can customize those kind of things, whether they want to learn memoir writing, songwriting, or any kind of activity that awakens your creativity so that you can just be more in tune with, your surroundings. Like I help people connect to their five senses more so that they're more in tune with everything around them, and that just helps with your own job productivity and enjoying life more. So yeah.
So will you be getting back, you say you have like a ton of stuff that's ready to go. Will you be getting back into the studio to do more albums?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm always good. I joined this group in the town where I live. There's a handful of, it's like maybe 10 at least 10 to 15 songwriters, and we're emailed a prompt every week of like a phrase or 2 to 3 words, and we have to write a song within 7 days and then email it to the whole group. And even if it's in a raw form, just singing into your phone and playing. But it's been keeping me sharp, and it's also producing a lot of songs. So I have so much material, and I just can't wait to start putting it together so that people can hear it. Yeah.
So this is it mainly jazz and everything?
No, I'm going in, when I was in Key West in 2019, I wrote a full new album that I didn't record yet. And I was inspired by my surroundings in Key West. So a lot of the songs are about, iguanas and mockingbirds and locals. And so it's more of a island feel, I can hear some steel drums and ukuleles, and there's nothing jazz about it at all. I've been writing a lot of pop and folk, and different genres are coming out of me now because I haven't been in the jazz scene as much. It's changing what I'm writing.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear this. This should be good.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. It's like I would have to find musicians who are either more eclectic or not just jazz focused, someone who's more versatile to record this stuff, because it has definitely a different feel. And I think it's good to grow and evolve and change and transform, and your music, your life, everything affects you, so you're gonna sound different over time. It's gonna keep changing.
So you're basically evolving all the time.
Oh yeah, we all are. Yeah, we're all changing constantly, even your perspectives. And so yeah, it's that's why I'm enjoying getting stories from other people, finding about their love stories, and writing these songs for other people that are based on their own relationships, and those songs are inspiring me. So I've been writing these for these commissioned projects, and the songs are already getting on radios, and they're affecting people. That like people are getting choked up, and they're causing some tears. So that's a good sign. That means you're connecting on a heart level, and that's what you want to do. You want a song should evoke some kind of emotion. So even though it's somebody else's story, it's still affecting the listener. So that's a good sign.
So a lot of your songs then come from real life people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have a hard time writing about things that aren't real to me. So sometimes when I get those prompts every week by the songwriting group, like one prompt was Russian opera, and you had to use those words in a song. And I'm like, huh? What am I going to do with that? So that's like, I started researching Russian operas, and I'm like, I'm not writing an opera, but I have to mention it. And like one this week or last week was Revolving Mountain. And I was like, how do I write a song with the words revolving mountain? Like, so that didn't I didn't, obviously that song that I ended up writing, because it didn't resonate with me and it meant nothing to me, and it just, I couldn't relate. So it didn't come out. It's nothing that I want to share with the world, really. But then there will be something that triggers an idea or a memory or a truth. Like I'm reading this book about songwriting, and Bob Dylan said, if you're not, if it's not like, if you're not singing about something that's true, the audience is going to know you're lying. And the best songs are the ones that are, you know, that's where you get the deep hurts, and that's why any some people, I've read that some songwriters will purposely date randomly and break up and have a lot of dramatic relationships just so that they have something to write about, because they want to feel the pain, and they want it to be real. They can't be fake about writing about, oh, she left me, and you know, it's like they want to actually feel how dark and painful that is. I don't want to feel the pain, but I do want to write about the truth. So, you know.
That's terrible.
Oh no, it's amazing what people like. I think it was like, you know, rock stars in the 80s. I think I read something somewhere that they would purposely, you know, be like break their own heart or other people's hearts just to write about that. Oh, was it? Did Elvis Costello do that? Did I read that somewhere? I don't know. Someone like him had said that they would date like that to write like that.
Can you imagine being broken up with just so someone could write a song about you?
Well, look at Taylor Swift. She's got a whole rock songs that, you know, that she writes about all her exes. Yeah.
Geez, poor guys. Anyway, now the most important question about this interview has got to be asked. Rams or Bengals? Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I do not come from a sports loving family. I grew up with my father and my brother were musicians, and they don't even know the names of football teams. So we never turned on a game of any team. You know, we would maybe watch the Olympics every 4 years just because that was interesting, but I don't think we were even rooting for America. You know, we didn't care. We just like enjoyed I like to watch the Olympics when I was younger because I like the backstory. I love when they would go to the hometown of the Olympian and they would say, if this person wins, they will bring electricity to their town because of, you know, the whatever, the money or the publicity or whatever it is, the sponsorships and all that comes with it. But I'm not even watching this games because I don't have a TV, but I'm so out of touch with, I was never a sports person. I'm all about the arts. But you know what? I also used to be fanatical about watching the Oscars and voting on the Oscars and seeing all the films. None of that matters to me anymore. I find that any fanaticism is just an unconscious waste of time. Like, I know it's entertainment. Films and sports are entertainment. But I would, I'm at a point where I'd rather go for a walk at sunset. And if I connect with a wild animal, that just makes my day. So I couldn't care less about you know, I might watch the commercials to see you know, afterwards, just to see how people were creative. But again, that's such materialism and merchandise and spending money and wanting to lure you to spend your hard-earned dollars. So I'm like, not interested.
Yeah,
I'm all about heart connections now. It's got to be heart connections. What's helping me grow as a human being so that I can like live my best life? That's all I care about now.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I'm probably not going to watch too much of the game. I mean, you know, it's good that, you know, Ohio's in there, Cincinnati. But yeah, I remember the one Super Bowl ad that I really loved. It was that little beaver who they showed him at his hometown playing the fiddle.
Oh man.
The next thing you know, he's at Carnegie Hall.
That's so cute. See, but that's about music. See, it's about an animal and it's about music, and that's why we connected to it.
Yeah.
They know, the advertisers know we love animals, so they know that gets us on a heart level, and music too is, and having a dream or inspiring to improve your circumstance. That's that works. But again,
Well,
it's manipulation. They're
yes,
trying to
yes.
manipulate us.
Well, when they come up with these ads, they like use these people. And I talked to one person, she was in psychology, and they use a lot of psychology
Oh yeah.
and everything to
Yeah,
get
of course.
those ads.
They're brainwashing us and making us want to get something that we didn't know we wanted. Like, I didn't know I wanted a Dorito until I saw your ad. But otherwise, I'm eating carrots and apples. But I see the Dorito and it's like, maybe I should, break my diet. But no, yeah, before the pandemic, I was never watching Netflix or all these like, I only have my computer to find anything to watch on. But I was never at home watching stuff because I was always out performing or going out interacting with folks. And now I've spent way too much time, like, it's a habit now. It's the end of the day. I don't want to read a book yet, or I'm too tired to create something. So I'll turn on, a movie or watch some program. And that's become a habit, and I'd rather be out and about, but it's not like nobody is out and about right now. So it's like, I'm looking forward to when that habit will be broken. I really want to get back to life and people.
Yeah, it's like you kind of, because I know the pandemic, they were talking, and the weird thing was I was taking a few psychology courses at Ohio State, and there was one writer, and I wish I could remember her name. I'd have to go back and look it up. But she said, I think it was by 2020, depression would be probably one of the leading cause over heart disease. And that's exactly when the pandemic hit. And everything else. It was the strangest thing.
Well, this is why I last year, a year ago, February, a year ago, because I couldn't perform live, and because I was seeing so many people, friends and family, posting online how depressed and isolated they were, and everybody's suffering, and I wanted to help them and do something about it. So I created this website called butterflycoach.org, and I decided to act as almost like an inspiring mentor or life coach. And I've been posting every single week. Every Tuesday I post an essay or article about something that will help you shift your perspective and focus on the positive and find balance in your life and find joy in the ways that I was discovering it, going on nature walks and creating, because the process of creating anything, even if you're baking a cake or decorating a room, it doesn't mean that you have to be a writer or a painter. That we create in so many ways. So connecting to your inner genius and your creative untapped potential, like, these are things that I've been doing online and teaching people. So that has been helping me mentally stay positive, and also the people who are subscribing and reading. And that's why I'm doing some consulting in that way, where people write to me and they even share their dreams that they have at night and ask me to help them analyze and interpret them, because the symbology, our souls speak to us through visual images. That's why when you have a dream and it's like, what does that mean? Like, why was I holding that object and in that weird place? And so like last night I had a dream of a specific number, and even, the universe is governed by numbers and symbols. So I've learned to study them the same way as ancient Egyptians, they used to go to dream schools and dream temples and analyze their dreams because they understood that, that's your soul, your psyche talking to you, and you might as well pay attention to it because it is reflecting your fears, your anxieties, but also your desires and your joys. And so I joined this group, this International Association for the Study of Dreams, and these are folks. They're nurses, doctors, scientists, university professors, artists, creatives from all over the world, and they've written books about dream work, and they give seminars. So the next conference is in Arizona in July, and so I'll be going to that to learn more about lucid dreaming and all that kind of stuff. So it's fascinating. I've been writing my dreams for 20 years. Every morning I spend an hour writing down my dream and going over the symbols that are, some of the symbols, even if we live in a world filled with technology that the ancient peoples didn't have, they didn't have a computer, but they did have ways to communicate. And so whether it's, like last night I dreamt of a telephone, but it looked like a cookie jar. It was a ceramic jar with a lid, but it looked like an old telephone with a receiver that you pick up. Mm-hmm. And it was at some kind of like thrift shop, and it was $59. So I knew that it was symbolic because the number stood out to me. The color, it was turquoise, turquoise is the color of communication and the throat chakra. And so that's why I love the color turquoise. That's why the Bel Air is turquoise on my book, because it's all about communication, and I love communicating and writing. And so, words are symbols, and I love sharing those. So I'm very much into symbology and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've had a lot of dreams about babies lately, like about taking.
Oh,
yeah.
I can tell you what that means from like an archetypal, symbolic origin. Anyone who dreams of having a baby or holding a baby or giving birth to a baby, or even just seeing it in the dream, babies usually, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a baby right now, because some people are like, why am I having a baby? Like, so, an 80-year-old woman could have a dream about giving birth to a baby. Babies often symbolize a new beginning, something that you're about to create. Maybe you're going to start a new schedule in your life, or get a new job or meet a new friend. It's all about that fresh start, new beginning, creating something. It could even be an idea that suddenly is going to come to you next week. And so that's the baby, the new thing that you're creating. So, so that's kind of exciting. That's a very positive dream.
Because I'm treating them with such care and everything else, especially in the dream.
It can also be when you dream of a child or a baby, no matter the age, sometimes it's your inner child. And if you're caring for it, you're taking care of yourself. You're nurturing yourself, and that's it. There was a nurse that I met that gave a lecture at one of those dream conferences in the Netherlands, and she talked about how some dreams are healing dreams, and it's your psyche and your body telling you how to heal your own self. And sometimes it's psychological and heart-based, like self-nurturing, self-love. And other times, you could have a dream. Like the other night, I had a dream of drinking a glass of milk. And that could mean that, according to the nurses and the doctors, that your body is telling you need more calcium or you need more vitamin D. You could dream of eating an orange, and it's your body telling you, honey, you need some more vitamin C. And those are amazing. Like this nurse gave these, she had some patients that she would analyze their dreams, and she would discover some illnesses within their bodies that hospitals didn't know of. She could see certain organs in she would dream about people and tell them, you need to have a certain test to examine this organ because you might have that, it might be disease. And she was always right. So it's like anyone who dismisses dreams, I tell them you're ignoring basically half of your existence, because they're quite helpful.
Yeah. It's like those prophetic dreams that people have. Like
Oh
they
yeah.
dream of something happen and it happens.
Those are called precognitive, and I have a lot of precognitive dreams. In the past, I never knew what they were, and some people, most of us have them, we just forget. And you've had it if you have a deja vu moment where you're like, wait, I had this conversation, I've already met you, and I saw you in that outfit. How is this? And your brain doesn't. It's like, what's happening? But what the good thing is for me, I remember all my dreams, so I write them down, and then I know the dream that I've had. So then the next day, when I do have that conversation word for word, or that person calls me and they say exactly the same thing that they said on the phone in the dream, I know then, oh, okay, this is the precognitive dream that I was about to have, and I mean, in waking life. So those are pretty intense. But I tell people, don't freak out. Like, let's say you dream of a plane crash or something. Don't think that you're having a dream and now like you're not going to get on a plane because you're going to go down. That's it's not like that. A precognitive, sometimes, like I had a dream once about this guy, and he was holding a suitcase, and he told me his name and where he lived. And I think it was 2 or 3 months later, I was on a plane going to Ireland, and the person that sat next to me, we started chatting, and he told me his name and where he lived, and it meant nothing to me in the moment. But when I got home, I looked at my dream journal, and I found it. He even told me his birthday on the plane. And when I looked at my dream journal, I looked up the date that I wrote the dream, and I wrote the dream on his birthday, and his name and where he lived were in my dream journals. And this was the person sitting next to me on the flight. So I was like,
ooh, cold
why?
chills.
So I was like, why am I dreaming about this stranger? It's kind of, that's why it fascinates me so much, and I pay so much attention to these dreams, because I also love the dreams, like when deceased relatives will come and speak to you. And I met a woman in Key West once, and she told me that she was a widow, and her husband, she basically, I guess she met him when they were teenagers, and they were married for so many years, and then he had passed 6 months ago. And she said she missed him so much. And I said, you know what? Why don't you invite him to come into your dream tonight? And she was like, what? I said, no, spirits will not interfere with your life unless they are invited, and you're communicating with them, and you say, I welcome you to come and give me a message and talk to me and whatever. And so she's like, all right, I'll try it, because she just didn't care. She just missed him. The next day she called me and she said, you're not going to believe this. She said, he came into my dream, my husband, and we went on a date. We went on a rowboat. We had a picnic. It felt real. And I said, that's because it is real. Like, he actually is creating that world for you to be with you. And so she just loved it. So I always tell people, at night, just before bed, take a few breaths, and you can ask your psyche and your spirit to help you remember your dream in the morning. And you can even, they call it dream incubation. You can ask to incubate an actual dream. Like, I want to dream about me sitting eating chocolate cake, or whatever you want to dream about. And if it doesn't happen, you don't have to get stressed and upset or think, oh, it's not real. It's just that you can do it like an athlete does, where they envision their routine in their mind. Every night you can keep saying, I want to remember my dream tonight. When I wake up, I want to remember. Or I want to have someone come visit, and be specific of who that is. And eventually it will happen. So you have to train yourself. It's a skill like any other thing.
What's weird? When I was little, I must have been around 8 years old or something like that. But we had a very close friend. She used to babysit me. We called her Sister Stanley. But one night I had a dream. We were in the church, and there was this elevator, and she was in the elevator, and I asked her, I said, where are you going? And she goes, sweetheart, I have to go. And I so desperately wanted to come with her. I did. I kept begging her, please let me go with you. And she goes, no, sweetheart, you've got to stay here. And anyways, the doors closed and she went up and we found out a few hours later she passed.
Wow.
Yeah, but I just remember wanting to go with her so bad.
Wow.
And I was so upset.
That's amazing. That could mean that we have what we call, you've heard of soulmates. A soulmate is not just someone who is your partner in a romantic love sense. A soulmate is also we have a soul family. So we have a circle of family and friends that are in our soul family, that they're a part of our existence and our team. I call it the dream team. And so like this person must have been really connected to you on a soul level, so that in your dream, your spirit and her spirit you were wanting to still be with her, and it was her time to go. And she was letting you know that it's not your time now. I'm about to go up. And so that's amazing.
Yeah. And I still remember, I mean, it felt so real. It was as clear as day.
Well, it is real. You could connect with her. You could, there's this British professor of dream work. She lives in Portugal, and I think she's the only person in the world that has a PhD in dream studies. Dr. Claire Johnson, I think is her name. And she says that you can return to dreams that you've had. You can go back into them. You can, like, for example, she helps people with nightmares. If they had a really bad nightmare, and sometimes she'll help you revisit that nightmare in a daydream where you're just meditating, and you go back into it and see the characters in it, or the things that were frightening you. And basically, like, if you're ever chased by a monster or a wolf or any other thing that's scaring you, a giant spider, she tells you to just stop and face it, because we're always running in fear, and we're just like, and you pick up scared. But if you can become lucid in your dream, you can train yourself to do this. If you stop and turn around and go, okay, wait, why are you chasing me? That monster will usually it will stop and go, well, I represent your fear, and I want you to know that you shouldn't be afraid of that test you're going to take tomorrow, or stop running away from your problems, and like, you can actually have a conversation with this being that you think is your, the scariest thing in the world. And so that's really helpful.
Yeah, I had I knew a woman, she went into counseling, but she knew a professor, and he kind of did the same thing. He taught people how to face their fears, because he, as a young man, he was from Germany, and he survived the concentration camps, and he kept having a dream of this soldier chasing his family. And he got to the point in the dream where he was able to stop the soldier who was chasing his family and finally face it and everything. But it's absolutely incredible what some of these people can do.
Yeah, we can all do it. It, like I said, it just takes training and concentration and practice. And there's one member of the group, his name's Walter Berry, and he just put out a book called Drawn into the Dream. And he teaches workshops where you'll draw your dream. Instead of writing it, you draw it, because sometimes the act of drawing is a different part of the brain, and it draws things that your psyche isn't even aware that was there, and you remember things in a unique way. Like, I'll be taking a group to Tuscany in April of 2023, and we're going to be painting our dreams and writing our dreams while we stay on an olive farm in Tuscany.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's something to look forward to.
Oh, okay. So
it's on my website too. It's on the butterflycoach.org website.
Oh, okay. So where can people find you and everything on the web?
Yeah, if you want to find the music, it's taraogradymusic.com. And if you want stuff that's more related to dreams and creativity and positive vibes and my writing, it's butterflycoach.org.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing the interview. Thank you, Tara.
It was great chatting with you.
Yes, I very much enjoyed it. Thank you so very much.